So absolutely positively, the very first thing you do is disconnect the battery. Since we're going to be messing around with the airbag and electronics, always disconnect the battery. All right, so I got a 2011 Toyota Camry here, and what's going on is everything on the steering wheel quit working. So none of these buttons work. The airbag light was on the dash. Everything electronic in the steering wheel just quit working. So usually that's going to be the clock spring. In order to get in there to it, what you're going to do is you're going to come down here, and there's an access panel on the side of the steering wheel on both sides. Take a little screwdriver or a pick and kind of pull those little access panels, and then you're going to have to take a Torx socket and get in here and loosen these up. There's one of these on both sides, and once you do that, the airbag module will actually come out. Now you're going to have on the back of the airbag module a couple of these harnesses. You're going to want to take a pick and pop that yellow retainer tab up, and you do that on both of these, and then those will come out. And you've also got a ground wire here, I guess, which you're going to pull off. And you know, you can just kind of move some of these wires out of your way. And of course you're going to have to disconnect a couple of the harnesses from here. You know, that's what these are. And what those do is they control your levers down here for your cruise control and wipers and stuff like that. So just disconnect those and get them loose and out of the way. And then once you do that, you can take a 19mm socket and remove this nut right here. Now that's going to take some force, so you're going to want a big breaker bar or something like that. You're going to have to get your legs and knees up under the steering wheel and hold it. And if you can, I did this on my Tundra and I was able to do it myself and break this free. But if you can't, then you might have to hold the steering wheel while a buddy operates the torque wrench, but you got to break that nut free. And after I do that, obviously I got to put the camera down to do that part, but then the whole steering wheel can come off, and that will expose the clock spring back here behind it. So I took that nut off with a great big breaker bar, and then you're going to have to wiggle the steering wheel back and forth and give it some force, and it will pop off because that's like a press fit. You can see the splines on there, so after the steering wheel's been on there for a while, it gets pretty tight, so you'll have to wiggle it a lot, but it will come off. And then the last step, I mean, here's the clock spring right here, but you got to take these two screws out and remove this cover to get in there to it. So now I'm down to the clock spring, and what we're going to do now is kind of look at the new one and make sure that it's the same. When you started this process, also you need to make sure the steering wheel is straight, because that's the thing about this clock spring, it has to be straight. You want your steering wheel straight, and you got to put this on straight because you don't want any of this to get clocked the wrong way, basically. And that's what that orange thing right here is for. It holds everything in position, and you're going to pull that out once we get it installed. So yeah, make sure you keep your orientation correct. All right, so I found a difference. This clock spring on the right is the one I bought from Rock Auto, and the one on the left is the one that just came out of the car. And you see the difference is there's a steering sensor on the one that was in the car that is not on this one that I got from Rock Auto. So this piece right here that my fingers are on right now, I'm gonna have to try and remove that sensor and see if I can add it to this new one that I bought. All right, so I removed the Toyota steering sensor here. There's a number on it, and obviously this white ring in the middle of it, that's the very important part. You got to keep that orientation correct, and then we're just going to snap it into this new clock spring that I got from Rock Auto. It's got some snap clip tabs on all the way around it here, and hopefully that will work just fine. I guess we'll find out here in a little bit. All right, right, so once you got that steering sensor reattached, you just take the clock spring and push it directly onto the shaft until it snaps into place. You notice we're going to leave this orange retainer in there. Don't take that out yet. We got to get everything snapped into place. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect the sorry, the camera works not too good today. Anyhow, this orange tab is still in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and hook up these harnesses where they go, and then once everything's in position, then and only then you're going to take this out. That way the orientation is correct. That's very important with these. You got to keep the orientation right, and then the steering wheel has to go back on perfectly straight on the splines also. Okay, so I got all the wiring harnesses reconnected in there. Clock spring is back into position correctly. Got the cover sandwiched back together and the 2 screws back in. So now the new clock spring has been installed. And at this point, we're ready to put the steering wheel back on. So now we will grab this tab and pull it out, and then we can start putting the steering wheel back on and reconnecting everything up here with these wires and the ground wires and all that good fun stuff. Got the steering wheel slid back into position, got the 19mm nut back on, torqued it down to spec. I don't actually have the exact spec on that, but it was pretty daggone tight when I took it off, so I just put it back on pretty daggone tight. Sometimes that's the best way to do it. Put it on as tight as it was when you took it off. Now we're just going to start reconnecting some wiring harnesses here. Make sure you get a nice positive engagement there. Here's the one for this side. And again, those control your levers for your wipers and all that stuff. This wire actually has a little retainer that it slides into right here. If the camera will zoom in. All right, so that's pretty much it. And now you've got these 3 connections here left for the airbag module. So we're gonna reconnect those real quick. And you'll note that one of those is orange and one is black, so make sure that you just plug them up in the color coordination that they're supposed to be in. And then we can set the airbag module back into place here. You're going to go back on the sides of the steering wheel and retighten those Torx screws that hold the airbag module into place. Put those plastic covers back on that cover up those screws. Reconnect the battery and everything should work. Let's try it and see. Okay, so I got the battery hooked back up, and now it's time for the moment of truth. Well, the wipers are on. I don't really remember on these cars how to turn them off. All right, let's see. Let's turn the radio on. Leave it on a nice staticky channel so I don't get a copyright strike. Let's see if the buttons work. Volume up and down. Look at there. Working again. Let's see if the horn works now. Yep. Notice that the airbag light is not on anymore. Now it's got several other lights on, but that's for other issues. So everything in the steering wheel is working correctly again, and he'll just have to reprogram his presets for his radio over there. But that's pretty much it, guys. You know, when I started this YouTube channel, I started doing videos like this because it's very helpful. You know, some people find stuff like this helpful. You know, let's say everything on your steering wheel quits working. Let's say you go to the dealership and they say, oh yeah, we can diagnose it for 150 bucks, and then maybe we can fix it for 800 bucks. You know what I'm saying? And you just don't have the money. That clock spring was like $50 on rockauto.com. I'm not sponsored by them. I just buy stuff there because it's cheap. Good parts, just like you're gonna get at an auto parts store, but a whole lot cheaper. So I ordered a clock spring, 50 bucks, and just put it in myself in less than an hour. You saw how easy it was. You can do this kind of stuff at home and save yourself a bunch of money. So hopefully this video helps somebody. By the way, the Toyota Tundra pickup trucks are extremely similar to what you just saw me do in here. In fact, I may have shot a video on that when I did my Tundra, because I added automatic headlights. If you're going to add the automatic headlight feature, it's very similar to, you know, as far as the process. And then once you get in there to the switch, you just, you know, remove the switch and swap them out. But anyway, hopefully this video was helpful to somebody. And now we're going to wrap this up and give the car back to him, and then they can address some of the other check engine lights, which I think was for cam phasers, crankshaft position sensor, some more complicated engine type things. They can handle that part. But for now, I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.